I was 32, 33 years old and didn't know what I was going to do with my life. But I knew from my parents always telling me that I had leadership skills, but I was using it in a negative way. So my journey with my education started after prison. So right now, I stand before you guys. I hold a master's degree in social work. From a licensed social worker, I also am a substance abuse, licensed in substance abuse and mental health.
Come on.
And I'm currently working on my doctorate in social work. 2027, God willing, I'll be standing here in front of you guys with a doctorate in social work. So the last time I was on the stage, I was receiving an award from Black Lives Matter with a really, really good friend of mine who is no longer with us, which is no Dina Stinnett. I know a lot of you guys up in here remember her, right? So that was my buddy, you know, when I was ripping and running the streets and throughout my whole education. So then I graduated in 2013 with my master's degree, and I'm just now getting around to working on my doctorate, even though Dr. Robeson and Dr. Stinnett and Dr. Wright, Vernice Wright, a lot of you guys know her as Trala, that's my cousin. They had been pushing me to get my doctorate degree, and I didn't want to go back to school, so I finally broke down this past summer and went back to school. Which now I want to fast forward to you about this resource center that Black Lives Matter has opened up right in the heart of the south side of Waukegan. So since I've been in the social work field, the substance abuse field, mostly every job I've had has been outside of the community in which I grew up in. You know, I worked in Lake Villa, I worked in Highland Park. You know, right now I'm currently working at the VA, and that's strictly with veterans. I've worked in Zion and, at Crew and those types of places. But this is my first time being able to do something in the community from which I come from which I helped poison at one time in my life. So one of the things that Clyde wants me to do is he wants me to do some groups as far as the youth, because when I was working for Gateway in the Casa, I worked with teenage boys aged 13 to 18 as an alternative to going to juvenile prison. A couple of my buddies over here worked with me. I think I might have been their supervisor and gave them a hard time or something like that, right? But anyway, so Clyde, we come up with this idea that we want to do some anger management groups at the resource center. So I told Clyde, well, why don't we take it a whole step further? Not only just do some anger management groups, but let's do some substance abuse evaluations also. Let's partner with the courts and do some pre-sentence investigations, because we know a lot of people that struggle with addiction and mental health end up in prison, and they should have been offered some type of treatment services, right? So these are some of the ideals that we have going on that we're going to implement over here at the resource center, right? This will be my opportunity, along with Black Lives Matter, along with a couple other people who I grew up with who have a lot of lived experience. We also are planning on doing a podcast about the resource center. And I don't think I have to worry about my idea of being stolen up in this room, right? So the ideal is, because everybody that's going to be on the podcast have lived experience. At one time or another, we've been incarcerated. But since we've been home, none of us has reoffended ever since. And for me, that's been like 25 years, a couple other people, 20-some years, a couple other, and most of us are either running our own business, working in the community, working in mental health. One of them is a pastor. I don't want to let too much out the bag yet, but what we want to do is we want to interview people that grew up in our community, that are formerly incarcerated people, that are now successful, productive members of society. And we're going to give people the blueprint on what to do when you get out of prison to keep from reoffending. So we're going to start doing our own, I don't even want to call it recidivism because it's going to be way more raw than just working on recidivism. We're going to start getting some of these young people that have offended at a young age, that have never had a job, that have never been given a chance to, get into some services so that they could not reoffend. Because I don't know how it is right now, but the last time when I got out of prison, they send you to this thing, I think it's called Fresh Start or Restart or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. And they talk to you about the do's and don'ts of parole. They give you $100, they put you on the train, and then they let you off on 95th Street in Chicago, and you got to fend for yourself from there. And then you have a parole officer that may be trying to help you or maybe trying to jam you back up. So what better way to send this message than people that grew up in our own community, who hasn't reoffended, who are successful, who are educated, and that have the experience on what it takes to stay out of prison. And we got some more ideas of what we want to do with the Resource Center, but I just want to give you guys like a small little glimpse into the window of the opportunity that we can do right on the south side of Waukegan, in the community in which we grew up. And anybody that's from around here, whether you're from the south side or not, you know that that area can definitely need people like us to be able to give back everything that we know and to maybe reach back and pull somebody else up that might be struggling, because we know that struggle. We know what it's like to need services and don't know how to access them, afraid to ask for help, all of the things that young people get caught up with. So I just wanted to come up here and give you guys just a little bit of outline of what we're gonna be doing over at the Resource Center. All right. So I think am I supposed to bring Zakia? What's next, Pastor? I don't have an artillery.